Hey beautiful soul! Today I am going to be sharing my top 10 shawl knitting tips that I wish someone had told me when I first started knitting shawls using our brand new beautiful Bridges of Venice shawl. Make sure you stay tuned to the end because there is a tip here that is really going to drastically improve your life. This shawl by Padma feels like wrapping yourself in a piece of history. Textured rows flow like Venetian bridges over delicate lace, and it has a really unique shape that stays put so well on your shoulders, so it is both pretty and practical. Make sure you hop on over to expressionfiberarts.com to download this pattern and get the yarn, and while you're there, sign up for email and text updates for a weekly free knit and crochet pattern. Now when knitting this shawl, and this leads me into my first tip, it is super important that you choose a yarn that drapes. For shawls like this and pretty much any shawl, you want to choose a yarn that is soft and that drapes really well so that the piece hugs your shoulders and it feels super sumptuous and delightful and it just shimmies in the wind. Depending on budget, of course, think merino wool, silk, even a little alpaca. If you are using yarn that you have on hand and maybe it's not the softest, just make sure that it's in hank form and give it a little soak in some wool wash and even some hair conditioner, and it's just going to soften it up beautifully, making for a more pleasant knitting experience and a softer finished project. We made Bridges of Venice in our beautiful spiced Hues Moongleam Fingering yarn kit, which is a gorgeous dusty rose gradient. From the time I started knitting all those many years ago, I have been obsessed with gradients. Just give them to me. There's just something so calming and so grounding about a beautiful, subtle gradient. The yarn itself is a blend of cotton and silk, so it's wonderful for warmer temperatures or when you want something breathable and cool. It's very soft, it shimmers, it's lightweight, so it's just a perfect companion to this project. I will be giving away a set of this gorgeous yarn today, so if you would love to enter to win it, just make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel and comment the word Bridges below. Tip number 2 is swatching, but make it fun. I know, swatching. But hear me out, use your swatch knitting time to really practice your lace before you dive into the full project. You might find that you prefer different needles with this yarn, maybe wooden versus metal. You might find you need to adjust your needle size because your project is going to be huge or tiny. It's super important to take the time to swatch. Take the time to swatch and measure that swatch against the designer's gauge, so you'll know if you need to adjust your needle size with that yarn. You want your project to be pretty similar to the designers, that you don't run out of yarn or have a project that is way off from the original concept. And swatching really gets your hands and tension consistent before you jump into the real deal. It's also a great place to practice some of the stitches that you're gonna need to know how to work for your project. For instance, you are gonna need to know how to work a garter tab cast on to start your shawl. And we do have a video on how to work that if you wanna check that out. And you're gonna need to know how to work a make one left purl and a make one right purl. So let me show you how to work those. To work a make one left purl, with your left needle, you're gonna pick up this bar that's between your stitches from the front. So it should look like that. Then you're gonna go ahead and purl into the back loop of that. So this is gonna help to twist that so you don't end up with a hole. So just purl into the back of that. So again, let me just go ahead and knit another stitch. Find the bar between your stitches and insert your left needle from front to back, like so. Bring this yarn to the front, of course, because we're gonna work a purl stitch, and into this little back leg, work your purl stitch. Now we're going to work a make one right purl. So with your left needle, you're going to find that horizontal band again, and you're going to lift it with your left needle from the back. So just reach around to the back, like so, and then we're going to purl into the front loop. So your yarn is to the front, and we're going to purl into the front leg. And there is an increased stitch. So let me go ahead and knit another stitch and show you again. Find the bar between your stitches, and insert your left needle from back to front. This yarn should be to the front because we're going to purl, and then you're just going to purl into the front leg of that. And that's another increase. Tip number 3 is to use a stitch marker to mark the right side of your shawl. On this shawl, it is fairly easy to tell which is the right versus the wrong side. On some shawl designs, it is really hard to tell. So just having a little beautiful stitch marker on the right side of your shawl makes your life a little easier. And here's a little secret. The design on the Bridges of Venice looks intricate, but the lace and the shaping happen only on the right side. So you have a little bit of creativity and then some rest. A little bit of creativity and then some rest. So it's a very rhythmic knit. Tip number 4 is to use a lifeline because lifelines are lifesavers. If you have not watched our video on how to use a lifeline in your lace knitting, have a hop on over. If you're knitting lace without a lifeline, you are braver than me. If you make a mistake, if you drop a stitch, if you need to rip back at any time, having a lifeline in your knitting is going to rescue your sanity. With a lifeline, your lace knitting fears will subside. While we're talking about lace, have a peek at the beautiful lace on this shawl. It is such a gorgeous architectural stitch that really brings to mind the idea of buildings and bridges and canals. I love these ridges too that flow between the lace stitches. To me, they look like the canals between the buildings. And this edge border along the bottom is just gobsmackingly gorgeous. It's a little bit different than the design in the body of the shawl. So visually, it just creates that perfect finishing touch. Tip number 5 is all about light. So light, light, light. So knitting and poor lighting conditions are natural enemies. Don't strain, don't struggle, invest in a good little light or sit in some natural light and your neck and your eyeballs are gonna thank you. Also, I don't know about you, but I am getting to that age where some readers or even a magnifying glass or a light up magnifying glass really does make those stitches easier to see. Whatever you do, just make sure before you start knitting that you have really good lighting and you can see your stitches really well. Tip number 6, stitch markers are your best friend and they are so beautiful. I recommend using stitch markers between your lace or stitch repeats because it will make spotting a mistake so much easier before it grows into a monster. I recommend that you invest in a beautiful set of stitch markers that you love, several actually, because they do have a tendency to grow legs and walk off, but it's gonna make your knitting experience even that much more special. Tip number 7 is to block your shawl and do not skip this step. This and pretty much every shawl is just really gonna shine after blocking. The stitches bloom, the lace pop, and the whole thing just blossoms into a drapey cloud of polished delight. Block your shawl, you're just gonna soak it in some lukewarm water, press out the excess moisture with a towel, and then pin it into shape and allow it to air dry. This is just really gonna open up your stitches. This is why I recommend that you use natural fibers if at all possible, because they block so much better, like worlds differently than synthetic fiber. And since the Bridges of Venice shawl uses our Moongleam Fingering yarn, which is a blend of cotton and silk, both natural fibers, is going to block and drape so beautifully, really opening up all those lovely lace stitches. Tip number 8 is to use rubber bands. Obviously, you're not going to knit your entire piece in one fell swoop. You do need to store it in your project bag. But sometimes those stitches can slide off of your needles. So to prevent that, I recommend using these little rubber bands. So these are actually little girls' hair rubber bands. I like to keep a pack on hand. They're super cheap. And you can just wrap them around the tip of your needle to prevent your stitches from sliding off. Tip number 9 is to remember why you knit. When you hit a tricky row or your lace looks like a pasta explosion, which happens to all of us, I recommend that you remember why you knit in the first place. We make mistakes, we make boo-boos, maybe we just get a little bit restless or achy, maybe we just put our project aside in frustration. Here's what I recommend you do in that case. What I like to do in that situation is to take a deep breath and then stretch. Ooh, and then go into the other room, set your project aside, and clear your head. When you're off doing something else, your brain is still going to be subconsciously churning on how to solve that problem you're not sure about. And when you come back to your project with a clear head, whether it's hours later or the next day, it is the wildest thing. It's like your brain will figure it out and it just gets it. It really works. Also, remember why you started knitting in the first place. Because it's beautiful, because it's fun, because it's creative, it helps you feel connected. And you know what? Often the projects that you feel most proud of are the ones that challenged you during the process and helped you to grow. Tip number 10, which is my favorite, and it's just gonna make such an impact in your life, it is to use a mantra while you're knitting. Knitting is all about the journey and who you are throughout the process. So since it is a repetitive process, I love to set an intention and then use a mantra while I'm knitting. So here's how you do it. Before you start knitting, set an intention. Whatever it is you most need in your life right now, whether it's joy, love, freedom, self-expression, creativity, adventure, abundance, wonder, you name it. Write it on a card, put it on something pretty, and slide it into your project bag. And then while you're knitting, you're going to repeat this word, or you can even make it an affirmation, which is even more powerful, like I am joyful. And then while you're knitting, it starts to sink into your subconscious mind, and your mind is going to look for ways to bring more of this thing into your life. It really is kind of magical, because declaring who you wish to be and how you want your day to go and what you wish to cultivate more of in your life really is helping you be more intentional and creative in life rather than just reactive. Go ahead and give it a try and let me know what you think. I hope this video brought you some inspiration, a few smiles, and a big cozy dose of motivation. Have an absolutely amazing week. Be sure to head on over to expressionfiberarts.com to download the pattern and get the yarn, and hop back here next week because we're gonna have another beautiful design that you're gonna be able to use some of these tips on. So I will see you then. Bye.